Vampires. We as human beings have always been afraid of what might lurk in the shadows, but we also held an appreciation for vampires, creatures that live in the dark. When you think of vampires in anime, shows like Hellsing Ultimate, Owain Saraf, or most popularly, Strike the Blood comes to mind, but out of all the shows that revolve around vampires, there hasn't been a single show that has dived deep into the vampire lore and instead are mostly used as an alternative option for substituting demons or used as fanservice based money making machines. Vampires in anime don't exactly have a remarkable reputation, so when the Case Study of Vanitas aired, everyone who watched it was taken by surprise and it managed to be a hit among veteran weebs. The anime took everyone by surprise by how beautifully alluring the world building is and all the while remaining mysterious. This is a heavily slept on show, so I'll be sharing my thoughts on why this is one of the biggest hidden gems out there. And without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. The anime takes place in what seems to be an alternate steampunk 19th century Paris in the aftermath of the war between vampires and humans. We follow Nue, a vampire who is in search of an artifact named the Book of Vanitas, a vampire of the Blue Moon who was outcast by his fellow vampires as he was seen as a cursed child due to the fact that he was born on the Blue Moon, which vampires are taught to fear. During his search, he runs into Vanitas, a human who has taken the name and the book of his original master, and he also happens to be a self-proclaimed vampire specialist. Thus begins the journey to find the source of the growing corruption of vampires, which we later on learn that an enigmatic being known as Naenia is responsible for and is also the ringleader of Parade of the Charlatan, a mysterious group who go and corrupt vampires and offer them what they desire in exchange for the true names. As it so happens, vampires who give up their true name are as good as dead due to the fact they go crazy and become, well, corrupt. The show may seem simple at first, but the events that take place between that are anything but simple, and the story gets more and more complex as the show explores new characters in a completely different setting while facing off against new opponents. The anime has been divided into two parts and each part has its own distinct vibe to it. Naenia is the major antagonist of the show, but her role is mostly done from the shadows. Majority of the time, she doesn't directly interact with our main characters and instead uses people to do her bidding, and that becomes more and more apparent as you watch the show. Since her face is almost never revealed, you don't exactly know who she is and why she is doing the things she does, and that just makes you more intrigued to watch our main characters resolve this mystery surrounding her. The anime introduces you to the war that was ongoing for centuries but now has been resolved, who actually is Naenia, and most importantly, what are the secrets surrounding the Book of Vanitas. The anime keeps bringing new problems for our characters to face, so it is always interesting to see how Vanitas solves them, and of course this doesn't only apply to him. When you first watch a shonen anime, you know what type of world you're getting into and is already pre-established, but the Case Study of Vanitas does the complete opposite of this. Just when you think you know something about their world, it casually introduces a new element as if it were natural and you're left there wondering, oh yeah, that does make sense. It slowly reveals new facts about how their world functions, steadily immersing you in its world, feeling as if there's always something more to come. I originally did not know what the heck was going on, but as I watched each new episode, it gradually started to make sense, but there are moments which take quite a while to properly understand, and this might just be from my personal experience watching it, so take this with a pinch of salt. It doesn't only give plot developments for the sake of it, but rather promises to give the full picture as the story slowly starts to unravel itself. It's not as simple as wishing for this character to fight this character, and instead we are constantly questioning our underlying assumption as to how the world works and what we think might happen. It's told that an alchemist had figured out how to rewrite reality itself, resulting in the creation of vampires, and the end goal is somewhat related to that. But after all that's happened, you have to ask yourself if whether that is actually what's going on, as you're not shown the complete picture and are always made to guess, similar to how Noe doesn't always know what Vanitas is thinking. Of course, if it was all guesses, you would eventually get bored of it, but luckily that won't be a problem here as the storyline is developing towards an end goal, and if you've seen the anime, you would know that things are just getting started and we've only scratched the surface. This is a historic tale with its basic foundations being more similar to a dark fantasy, though from the outside perspective, it may look like a normal Sherlock Holmes ripoff, but don't let that fool you. Sure, it may have tons of enchanting moments, but it equally also has cataclysmic events. The Case Study of Vanitas uses a darker tone of storytelling to build its characters and make you question your morality. The sides being portrayed are truly haunting as you know what's coming and you prepare your brain, but later on, it reveals something about the person and it completely changes your perspective. It's easy to see that without even watching the anime or reading the manga, there is one undeniable fact about its characters. They are horny. This anime has tons of fanservice moments that make your heart go doki doki, because mine definitely did, but something about them feels right. Tons of anime have fanservice moments in them which can sometimes ruin the likability of the show, but here, those moments felt necessary. You see how they're cuddling in this clip? Well, there is a proper explanation behind it. What's the greatest asset of being a vampire? Yes, your guess is probably correct. Sucking blood. I don't really associate sucking blood with pleasure, but damn does he look like he's enjoying it. The biggest creative aspect that I really loved is that certain vampires have special abilities which appear when sucking blood. Naenia has the ability to read people's past, while this guy can somewhat control people. I find this to be one of the biggest aspects that makes this series truly special. And while this show does have a lot of stunning fan service moments which are always a pleasure to watch, the backstories of each individual character that have some sort of purpose in the grand scheme of things is what makes this truly unique. While you are slowly given new information of the world, characters such as Vanitas and Chloe are a total mystery, but as you watch the anime and learn more about them, you feel sympathetic towards them. When it comes to Vanitas, you really can't tell what he is thinking, and it's this mysteriousness that keeps me intrigued to keep watching as you get obsessed with him from the moment he is introduced in episode 1, as there is almost no information regarding him other than some character interactions which reveal new details about him. The series does a wonderful job of differentiating each individual character with compelling shonen backstories. The anime tells the story about Vanitas from Noe's perspective, and you also get reminded from the beginning that this is a tale about how Noe got to know Vanitas, and at the end of episode 1, it is also revealed that he had to end his life later on in the future, but the reason behind that is still a mystery. But because it's already out there, you watch them argue, laugh and share their emotions more firmly, as you already know that this won't have a happy ending. Noe as a character grows alongside Vanitas, but not in the way you would think. Due to the fact of him having a disturbing past, he has this sort of a guilty conscience, and Vanitas really helps him overcome that. The Case Study of Vanitas is basically a story where Vanitas mostly serves as a side character to let the other characters grow, but the series also puts the spotlight on him at the crucial moments. Vanitas is a pretty mysterious character, and even after watching the show, it seems that we are still at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding the true character of Vanitas and what made Noe end his life later on in the future, because if you've seen the anime, you would know that Noe refuses to kill people, whether that be humans or vampires. During my time watching this anime, I started to notice somewhat of a pattern in the characters which the series uses to tell its darker storytelling. A lot of the characters' motives and actions are mostly influenced by their traumatic past, each with their own circumstances. I also noticed that there were some rumors spreading that our main protagonists are bisexual, and though this isn't confirmed by the author or is talked over in the manga, I can understand why people might think that due to their actions. Whatever the case may be, there is one undeniable fact: they are husbando material. But moving on from that, can we also give some proper appreciation to the waifus of the series? Jan is initially shown as a strong tsundere girl whose only job is to hunt corrupt vampires, but as the series progresses, she slowly starts falling for Vanitas, and it's just so wholesome to watch her fall in love. She is just so innocent and it just makes you want to protect her. Of course, there are also other girls besides Jan like Dominique and Chloe who are the only other contestants for Best Girl so far, each with their own unique circumstances, making you feel more empathetic towards them. Dominique is refined, Jan is innocent and headstrong, whereas Chloe is dignified and odd, but she also has her adorable moments, even if the actions she does is far from that. The series also has its own Astolfo with pink hair. How cool is that? Another similarity between Fate's Astolfo and this Astolfo is that they both get mistaken for a girl. Apart from having tense moments, this show's vibe is pretty chill, and seeing characters in their chibi forms heals my heart. The visuals of this anime are heavily stylized, and you can instantly recognize the show when you're shown a random clip from the anime. Studio Bones have once again proven their superiority when it comes to animating and giving the source material a fresh look. There are a lot of hand-drawn scenes, especially during the key moments of characters' backstories, and you can only guess how much time it must have taken the studio to animate it. As this is a battle shonen anime, there are tons of fight sequences which are obviously the stars of the show. Each battle sequence is so well done, and the characters' expressive emotions really elevate the fight scenes to a whole new level. There really isn't much to say other than Studio Bones don't miss. Since the studio is spending all their budget on animating and bringing this world to life and giving it a refreshing look, there was always going to be use of CG in this, and apart from one moment, you can't really notice it much because I certainly did not. Whenever Vanitas has to use the book, the anime shows this opening sequence where the book opens up, and it's just so mesmerizing to watch. Just watch this clip. You can obviously notice that the book is a CG model, but it's done in a way that doesn't necessarily ruin your immersion. Since it takes place in a different dimension, the CG book blends with the background, making the opening sequence always tempting to watch, and I can confidently say that I have never skipped that sequence, not even once. The author was inspired by Sherlock Holmes, and you can feel that in this, but the author of this series, Jun Mochizuki, wanted to create something somewhat similar to a detective story but also add their own twist to it. The author also informed that some characters in this series might not even have a meaningful death, so we as the audience will just have to wait and see what she meant by that. The Case Study of Vanitas is one of a kind, especially when it comes to properly exploring the lore of vampires. The world in which it takes place is mysterious enough that it keeps making you want more, and getting to know more about the characters is also very fascinating. As the story expands more and more and they unravel the mysteries of their world, new characters will keep on getting introduced, and I can't wait to watch Vanitas and Noe keep on arguing. If you've enjoyed this, then don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. As always, I'll see you next time.